So good morning, everyone. So yesterday we discussed like what is IP address, what is private IP, what is public IP, and what is host name, and port number. Right? We also discussed what is port number. Right. So let's complete these the remaining basics and before starting the actual training. Right. So I'll be starting SDLC. I'm planning to start SDLC today after completing this. Right. So let's discuss each of these like the remaining ones, right? So I'll be because of some issue I could not upload internet issue, I could not upload yesterday's session. So I'll be uploading yesterday's and today's session now, right? So yeah, so so yesterday we covered till port number, right? So the next one is ping command, right? There is ping command, right? There is something called ping command that everyone should know, every software engineer should know, right? Say for example like suppose you want to check like if you are able to, suppose you have two or three machines in your network, right? To the same internet connection, let's assume that there are or to the same LAN or WAN, right? So before going to ping, right, let me put this LAN or WAN before that of LAN. I think this makes more sense. Yeah. So what is LAN, guys? Everyone should know this. What is LAN?
Local area
network.
And what is WAN? What does WAN stand for?
Wide area network.
network.
So let's assume that you have some other machines in your network, right? Right, and you want to see like if you are able to communicate with that machine. You want to see that you are able to communicate or you want to connect to that machine, right? So you can use this ping command for that, right? You can use this ping command to see like for that, right? Or else I don't right now, I don't have any other machine connected in my network now. So once I'm back to yeah, once I'm back to my net my Hyderabad, right? So I'll be having some other machines connected to the network. So for now what I will do is like we can ping any server with the domain name or IP address, right? Say for example, if you type ping gmail.com, right, you will see the like you will see the IP address of gmail.com. Here you see, right? Right. So you see some and this is important for us, not the not this one, but if you are able to communicate with that machine, with that with that server, you will get this message like this: reply from, and it will show you the elapsed time, right? And it will also show you that packet sent is 40, received, sorry, packet sent is 4, received 4, lost 0, right? This is how you see, like what does it mean is you are able to communicate with that server, with that Gmail server, right? And approximate round trip time means, round trip means the time taken for your ping request to go to the server and receive the response. Is it clear, guys, what is meant by round trip time? The time taken for your ping request, you have sent a ping request to Gmail server, right? The time taken for your ping request to go from your machine to Gmail servers and get the response back, get this reply back from the server, this reply, right? That the time taken for that is like here you can see how many times it has pinged here. See here, it has pinged 4 times, right? And you got four times, you got reply 4 times, right? So it is giving you the, it is showing you the min max average times of all these 4 pings, 4 requests, right? So see here, the max time is 87 milliseconds, right? That's what you are seeing here, 87 milliseconds. Minimum is 82 milliseconds. This one, this value, 82 milliseconds, and the average is 84 milliseconds, right? So in the same way, suppose you want to check, if you are able to, suppose you have some more machines in your network. Once you join in office, right? Once you join a job, right? You may be having a number of machines in your network connected to your office network. So if you want to communicate with that machine, or if you want to connect to that machine, right, you will see for we will use this ping command generally if you are able to communicate successfully or not, right? You understood, right? What is the use of this ping command, everyone?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So next comes FQDN, fully qualified domain name, right? So we have already seen what is host name. How to check the host name, Vaishnavi? How to check the host name of your machine, Vaishnavi?
Settings, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me go to settings. Yes. I went to settings. What next?
Correct. Send out.
I think if you are go to settings, I think we can check it here. But this is not the way. This is not the way that I told yesterday, right, Vaishnavi? So either you can type host name here, host name in the command prompt, and this is your host
నేను
name.
మాట్లాడండి వాళ్ళకి వినపడాలంటే ఏదైనా ఒక్కడే మ్యూట్ లో ఉంటుంది చూస్తే సరే.
Hey, you are already in unmute. Okay, we are able to hear you, man. Yes, do you have something?
నేను మాట్లాడేది వింటున్నా. హలో సార్.
Yeah, hello.
ఓకే.
Is it Dasrath?
ఎస్ సార్ వినిపిస్తుంది సార్.
Yeah, we can hear you.
ఓకే.
See, if you want to confirm that, when you are speaking, if you want to confirm that we are able to hear you or not, right? You can see that microphone symbol, right? Then see, you see some action over there on the microphone symbol. You see some color moving over there. Okay.
ఓకే.
Yeah. So how to check the host name? So you can open a command prompt and type host name, right? That will give you your host name. Or else, what is the other way that I told yesterday, guys? You can go to control panel, right? Yes. How to check from here?
System.
Yesterday, I have shown one more way to check the host name. So you can go to this PC or my computer and click properties, right? There you can see the host name or device name, right? Device name is nothing but host name. And this is what you are seeing here, right? Desktop iPhone T80 and TB63, isn't it? Guys are able to hear me?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, this is the way to check your host name, right? Now, let us understand what is this fully qualified domain name, right? So when you are connected to a network, right, corporate network, right, actually you will have that fully qualified domain name over there. So let me tell you how it will be. Okay, say for example, this is your host name. Okay, this is your host name. And now if you are connected to a corporate network, right, your host name will be something like this. Your host name, fully qualified domain name will be something like this. It will be your host name dot, say for example, you are working for CTS. So it will be like this, something like this. Your host name dot cts.com, something like this. Got it?
Yes,
Guys, is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Right? So that is FQDN, fully qualified domain name. The next one is firewall, right? So firewall is something, which will be on every machine, right? There will be a default Windows Defender firewall. There will be something called Windows Defender firewall, which will be, which will be protecting you from any, hacking attempts. Okay. Let me show you how to see the firewall. Type firewall here in the Windows search box. And you see this Windows Defender firewall with advanced security, right? I just typed firewall here, and you see this, Windows firewall. This is the Windows default firewall, which will be turned on by default. right? Which will be turned on by default, and it will be trying to protect you from any hacking attempts, uh, any hacking attempts. Is it clear, guys? You can see here Windows Defender firewall is on, right? So you can
Yes.
see Windows Defender firewall is on. Okay, and for private profile also Windows Defender firewall is on. Public profile also Windows Defender firewall is on, right?
Yes.
So what is this firewall, guys? Can you Google it? What is firewall? What is Windows Defender firewall? Right? Hey, one more thing. Oh, let me show you something, interesting. Okay. So if you go to, I'll share this PPT with everyone. So once you confirm you're joining, what you can do is just right click on the term. Suppose you want to Google, what is firewall, right? Just double click on the term, select it, and, use this explore firewall option. It will directly open the Google search results like this. You see on the right side, right? It has opened Google search results, guys. And so what is firewall now? In computing, a firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined, security rules. Right? So you can open this, web results. Okay, you can open this, or you can click on learn more on Google. Right? Hold on. So let me. You can open the web results. Okay. Hold on. It's not opening up. Hold on. Or you can open the links from here, right? So a firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules, right? So go through this, go through this, Wikipedia page to get more details, in-depth details, right? But what all I mean, you should know at least is there will be something called a Windows Defender firewall in Windows operating system that it will, what is its job? It will be monitoring the incoming and outgoing network traffic based on some security rules, right? So that is about firewall. And let me show you one more time. So if you want to Google for on any of these terms, right? So just select the complete term and use this explore FUDL or Control Alt Shift I is the shortcut for that, right? So you see a shortcut here, right? If you use that explore option, you'll get the Google search results like this. Clear, guys? Any PPT, like not only this PPT, guys. You can use this. This feature is available, in any PowerPoint presentation or in any Google document. All right. So now let's go to the next one. So host file in Windows, right? So I'll explain this with a good example in the training sessions, like where we will be, But just I want to show you some host file. There will be something called host file in Windows operating system. I just want to show you that, what is the purpose of it and where do we use it. I will explain it with a good example once we are into the actual regular sessions, right? So for now, let me show you where is that host file. If you go to your C drive, right? C, right? Go to your Windows folder, Windows System 32. Under Windows, you go to System 32, and drivers. Go to your drivers folder and etc hosts, right? This is the host file that we are talking about that I mentioned in the PPT, right? This is how a host file look like, Windows file, host file look like. And you should be aware of that, this host file, right? Location of the host file and what is the purpose of that host file. Okay. Say for example, like by default, you will have only this entry till here you will have. Okay. These are the entries that I added, guys. Okay. Let me do one thing. So no, by default you will have. Can you open your host file, everyone? Okay. So when I'm trying to say, what is it saying? Do you want to launch Notepad++ in administrator mode? Say yes, right? If you want to make some changes in the host file, right? You have to open in administrator mode. How you can do is you can right click and you'll have an option to open as administrator. Okay. Not there here. Oh, Okay, sorry for that. Somehow it's not showing that option. Anyways, like, when you try to save, right, it asks like if you want to open in administrator mode. I said yes, and now it is in administrator mode. Here you can see host file opened in administrator mode. Here you can see. Okay, for other, right? You see it here, right? Host file is opened in administrator mode. Are you able to understand, guys? Are you able to follow? Is everyone able to open this host file, guys? Can you please open, go to the location and open this? Here you can see the location, guys. C Windows System 32 drivers etc host. This is the path. See, here is the path, guys. Here is the path for that. Please open that host file. Everyone, please open the host file, guys. And if you observe here, you can, so is everyone able to open? Shall we move ahead, guys? Yes, please respond.
Yes.
Right. So observe here, there will be some entries already in the host file. I mean, there will be some lines already in the host file, entries made in the host file. And observe here, there is something called some IP address over here. See, 127 dot. How to pronounce it, guys?
127.0.0.1.
Right. So that is the default IP address of your machine, of any machine. Okay. This is the default IP address of any machine, right? And local host is the default name of any machine. You see something here, right? See, 127.0.0.1 local host, right? This is the default machine name and this is the default IP address of any machine. You have to remember this, guys, right? 127.0.0.1. Right. And you can give some name to your machine. For example, if you see here, I gave the name as 127.0.0.1 my Dell XPS. My Dell XPS. Right. So what we are doing here is, what we are doing here is by giving this entry, making this entry, and observe here, one more thing to observe is these are commented outlines, by the way. These are, if you see a hash symbol in the beginning of the line, that line is a commented outline. Okay, so I don't have a comment here, but I kept like, I have made an entry in the host file saying that I am mapping my local host IP address with this name. Means I can refer this, my machine with this name also. You got it, right? This is the default IP address of any machine. Okay, now see, yesterday we have seen how to check the IP address, right? How to check the IP address? What is the command? IP config, right? This is also IP address of our machine, 192.168.1.103. 103. This is the IP address, private IP. This is the private IP of our machine, right? Suppose you have some more, you have 2 to 3 more machines in your network. Their IP address will be like something like this: 192.168.1. Till 1 it will be common. The last number changes. It may be 101 or 102 or 104 like that. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is the default IP address. 127.0.0.1 is the default IP address. Now I gave some name to this. I am mapping some name to this, right? My Dell XPS. I said like my Dell XPS. This is my Dell laptop XPS model. That's why I gave it as my Dell XPS. Now, what is the purpose of this, right? So generally we cannot remember the numbers, right? We can't remember the numbers that much easily, right? That's why, we use some names, right? See, if Gmail has given their address as, say for example, instead of gmail.com, if they give you, this the address, right? Can you remember this? You can't remember this easily, right? Guys, able to follow?
Yes, we can't.
Every server will have some IP address, guys. By not only Gmail, every server will have some IP address. You can type, pingfacebook.com, right? So it will have certain IP address. See, pingfacebook.com. Right? This is the IP address. This is the IP address of Facebook servers. Right? And this is what is this? What is this IPv4 or IPv6? Which one is this?
IPv6.
This is IPv6 address, right? When I say, which will have 8 set of alphanumeric characters. 8 set of alphanumeric characters. This is one set, 2, 3. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? You have 8 sets of alphanumeric characters in IPv6 address. Clear? Now, so coming back to this, right? So, where are we? Yeah. So, so these numbers are difficult to remember, right? Yes or no? Agree with me? You cannot give these numbers. You cannot remember these numbers. That's why they gave some domain name to that, to their server, right? They gave that domain name called Facebook. Now, Facebook and Gmail, you can remember everyone. It's easy to remember. In the same way, I gave some name to my laptop instead of remembering the number. This is easy for me to remember, isn't it? Now, how can I use this, right? Let me show you. Let me try to start one application on my server, installed on my server. Okay, yesterday we faced some issue. After the session, I tried it and it worked fine. Let me see if I am able to, start this application today. I have installed one, I have set up one Java application on my machine. If you remember yesterday, we got something like, some error message, right? So let me check if that is up and running. Yeah. So now the application is started and I can see the login page, admin login page, right? And I also see this message server startup in 26 seconds, right? So if you see this message, that confirms that your server is started successfully. I'll explain this. What is this Konakart application and why we are, why do we need to use this and what is the purpose of this for us for training? I'll explain this later. For now, remember that, this is the URL of this application. Localhost 8780 Konakart admin. Okay. Or you can use the same, see, this is one way to access the application. The other way is, you can use, instead of localhost, you can use 127.0.0.1 also. 127.0.0.1. When I say O, it is 0, right? So 127.0 is pronounced as O, guys, right? As I said yesterday, right? So, like I can access the URL in this way also. See here, because this is the default IP address of my machine. See, this IP address changes. Okay, let me show you one more thing. The IP address that we have seen just now with ipconfig command, right? That is not a permanent one, guys. That is not a static one. Okay, ipconfig. See, this IP address may change based on your internet service provider. This changes, guys. Or if you are using the same ISP also, it will change. It may change after a week or month. We cannot say that. We don't know how it will be managed. But this is not static. It is dynamic. That's what I want to explain you. This IP address is not permanent. It's not static, but it is dynamic. It changes from time to time. Is it clear, guys? Right?
Yes.
But this IP address is, this IP address doesn't change. Your local machine or the default IP address will be always 127.0.0.1. That is the default IP address of your machine. Okay. Now, and if this is the default, domain, see the local host. This is the default machine name, host name of your machine. This is the permanent or, that is the default host name of your machine. Is it clear, guys? Local host means your local computer. That's it. Your own computer. That refers to your own computer. Local host means. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Now, Now I gave some name to this, right? I gave the name as my Dell XPS. Now instead of localhost and IP address, can I use this my Dell XPS?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Name to my computer, right? So I gave the name as my Dell XPS. Now can I use this? Yes, I can use this,
You
right?
can use.
Instead of localhost or IP address, I can use some name also. How is it possible? You can map that name in the host file, this host file. C Windows System 32 driver CTC hosts, right? This is one purpose, where we use this host file. Okay, I'll explain it in more detail later on, even though I give more details, you'll get confused now. Is it clear, guys? What I am doing here, instead of IP address, I gave some name, some custom name. Suppose you understood, right? Suppose if you give my computer, let me give my Lappy. Okay, I want to give the name as my Lappy. Okay, and I saved it. Now, instead of this, localhost or IP address, you can use my Lappy also. Are you able to access the page?
Yes.
My Lappy. Right? So whatever you give here, right, you will be, whatever machine name you give here, you will be able to use that, in the URL. If it is a local application, please note that I am running Konakart application, it's a Java e-commerce application on my local machine. It is running on my local machine. Clear? And for that, my computer, my laptop, I gave the name as my Lappy. Right? Initially, it was some other name. Suppose let me give Dell XPS. I just gave Dell XPS. Previously, I gave my Dell XPS. Now I gave Dell XPS. Right? And you should be able to use that name here instead of localhost. Clear? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, is it clear? Okay, so let's move on. We'll revisit this, in the training, right? We will come across these terms again at some point of time. So we are running out of time, right? And now VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So this also I'll explain, once we are halfway into the training, I will explain this. Or after completing LoadRunner JMeter, then I will explain this, right? So for now, remember that VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. Right? And there is one more thing called, Windows PowerShell, right? So what is this Windows PowerShell, guys? Anyone? I think I explained it yesterday, right? So let me explain quickly. So, like everyone knows command prompt, right? Everyone knows this command prompt, isn't it? You see here, see Windows System 32 cmd.exe. This is command prompt. You see the title as window title as cmd.exe, right? And now there is something called, in Windows, there is something called PowerShell, right? So, how can you launch it? Type, in this Windows search box, type PowerShell, and, you get that Windows PowerShell, and you see this black color background window open, right? So this is Windows PowerShell. This is much advanced version to this command prompt. Okay. So we will use this, once JMeter is completed, right? We will use this actually. So, Windows PowerShell actually. At that time, I will explain in detail what is the purpose of this Windows PowerShell when we have command prompt and all, right? So one more thing I want to add here is elevated command prompt. So you know, command prompt and elevated command. Okay. Right. What is meant by elevated command prompt? Or this is also called as admin command prompt. Right. So what is meant by this elevated command prompt? Let's understand. So command prompt, everyone know, right? Command prompt, everyone know. So you go here and type CMD and you open a command prompt. This is a normal command prompt. This is a normal command prompt, right? Now let me show you what is elevated command prompt. Okay, so with normal command prompt, you will not be able to execute all the commands. You will not be able to execute all the commands. Okay. So in that case, we use this elevated command prompt. If you type CMD here, you get an option here, right? Run as administrator, isn't it? So this is called as a elevated command prompt. It is nothing but admin command prompt. Okay. With this, like whatever commands you are unable with normal command prompt, you can execute here with this administrator command prompt, right? This is also called as elevated command prompt, right? And PowerShell we will discuss in detail once geometry is completed, right? And few more things that you need to know, which we will be using in day-to-day life is, once you start in your career, is additional clocks, right? If you observe my machine by default, if you observe your machine on the right side, bottom right, you see some date and time displayed over there, right? And if you observe my machine, I have added some additional clocks over there. See here, by default local time will be there, which is showing 8:28, and then you have Eastern time. I have added Eastern PST, isn't it? Guys, you are able to see my additional clocks or no?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
sir.
how can we add this? See, for example, when you are working in a IT, any software organization, right? You will have some on-site team and offshore team. So if you are working from offshore, you will be having some, on-site team, some people working in US, right? Suppose you want to see like, or your servers will be in US, right? If you are working on an application that is used, that if you are working on an US application, right, for a US project, your servers will be located in US, right? And they may be in some central time zone or Eastern. In US, you have different time zones, Central, Eastern, and Pacific time zone, right? So if you want to see the time of that, current time of the time zone, right? So you can add as a additional clock here. So how can we add that is, right click on the time zone and go to adjust date time, right? And you see here, add clocks for different time zones, right? Add clocks for different time zones. Or else, if you have any of your friends or relatives in US, right? So you want to make a call and you don't know right now what is the time there, right? So you can simply add, like additional clocks like this. You can simply add additional clocks with the corresponding time zone. And by default, this will be unchecked. Show this clock will be unchecked, right? You can add 2 more time zones like this. Just select the checkbox and select the time zone, whatever they are in, right? And give some name to this. I gave some name to this, guys. This is the name that we can give, Eastern time or PST, right? So this is about additional clocks, okay? So you don't require it right away. That's fine if you cannot do it, right? But you have to know that there is some feature called additional clocks in Windows OS. Clear? Yes, is it clear here?
Yes.
The next one that I want to explain you is remote desktop connection. What is this remote desktop connection? Suppose you want to connect to a remote machine in your network. Means, so you and your friend, like you and your colleague are working in a project, and you want to connect to his machine. You want to connect to his machine, right? So and do something, right? So what you do is you use this remote desktop connection. So you type Windows command, Windows R. It will give, see, Windows R. It will give you this run prompt. This is called as run prompt. So type here, RDP. You can either type remote desktop connection here, remote desktop, right? You can type remote desktop connection. Okay, sorry. You can type MSTSC. Sorry. You can type MSTSC. Yeah, MSTSC. MSTSC stands for Microsoft Terminal Services Client. That is the full form of MSTSC. If you type MSTSC, you get this remote desktop connection window, right? And you type the IP address of your colleague machine, and you can but you should know the credentials, obviously, right? So you can enter the IP address and credentials of his machine, and you can connect to that machine. That is one way. Otherwise, you can type here in the Windows search box. You can type remote desktop. Just type remote, and you will get this option, remote desktop connection. That will also launch the same window, right? And you have to type the either host name or server name, machine name or IP address of that machine, and you have to enter the credentials, right? Suppose there is one more machine in my network. right? At my home, there is one more machine with IP address 144, and I want to connect to that machine. So you type the IP address, and I already saved the credentials. That way it is trying to connect, but right now it is not running, not up and running, I think, right? So but this is the way to connect to a remote machine. You just enter the host name, or
Is it possible in same network or?
yeah, it should be in the same network only. You cannot connect to a machine in some other network. It should be in the same network. Okay. Guys, is it clear so far?
Yes, Kishan, it's fine.
Right? Yeah, I will stop it here. I have to stop it here, guys. I'll start tomorrow by sharp 7:30. Okay. So please join by 7:30. Please don't join late, please. I'll start by 7:30 so that we can make some considerable progress. Okay. So for the recording, yeah. So thanks for watching. So thanks for joining and thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day.
Thank you.